we have 4 talks. 4 people submitted a talk, and I'm very excited to hear their takes on some of the aspects of NEOS, and if they can keep the time, of course. So with no longer introduction, first up will be Benjamin Behrendt from MÜNSMEDIA with a partial content export. So how do we get it to production? Your stage.
Thank you very much. So today I'm going to quickly show you a package we developed at MÜNSMEDIA, which is called partial content export, and hopefully is able to help you answer the question, so how do we get it to production? But first, hello, my name is Benjamin. I'm a senior web developer at MÜNSMEDIA. Been working with NEOS for 3 years now, so it's not that long. It's the first NEOS package I've developed myself, so I'm open to criticism. But let's quickly jump in. What's the situation? So we launched a website for our customer. We have a staging instance, we have a production instance. So most of you can probably relate. It's a very common setup. The customer is happy, they are updating their site, everything is great. But then time passes and they want a new thing. Maybe they want a new blog on their page. They want a new complex content element. They want maybe a completely new site structure, something big. So we develop that. We put it on staging. They see it, they have suggestions, we improve it, do this a few times, and in the end, once again, the customer is happy. We have content on our staging instance. So how do we get that to production? This is a problem we often face, actually. So the first thing that comes in mind, it's easy, just do a site export. Export the site from staging, put it into production. But we didn't develop an entirely new site. We developed a part of a site, a content element, so we can't really do a site export. Maybe we could clone the staging instance, put that on production, but that also doesn't work because the customer has updated their production instance multiple times. They added new things themselves. So our staging instance is hopelessly out of date. So we can't just take that, copy it onto production. So what happens most of the times? Just copy anything manually. So someone has to sit there, staging instance on one screen, production instance on the other screen, and copy all the content that has been approved by the client, and it just takes forever. So this is a problem we've been facing multiple times in the past, and we wanted to improve on that. So what did we do? We developed a small package. It's called, there it is, MÜNSMEDIA.partial content export. It's a small helper that helps you export any node types or content structures on a site, both pages and individual node types. Doesn't really matter. It works just like a site export, except it doesn't export the entire site, just a very specific thing. And then, of course, on the other end, on the staging instance, you can import that. This actually was easier than I originally thought it would be, because this functionality already exists within NEOS. The site export service can not only export sites, but it actually can export content elements. But the command line interface used for that just doesn't expose this possibility. It just doesn't. So it basically restricts itself. So we made a small new command within our package. If you look at the syntax, it's very much inspired by the original site export command, and it can be used to export one single thing from your site, and then, of course, import it at a specific point in the other site. You can see it here. Just say content export. We put in a package key. We put a site name. You will see this example comes from the NEOS demo package. Here we add a source, which is particularly the element we want to export. This is very easy to find. It's the node identifier. You can see that in the NEOS backend. And we can also provide a file name so that it's clear what we have imported. And then on the other side, we just import the same thing. I also have a quick demonstration. Let's see if I can get that working. wasn't prepared to do multiple screens, so I will probably have to move that over here. So you can see I have the NEOS backend. Let's say we want to export the block because we newly created that. So I could move over here, additional info, take the identifier. I'm just not going to copy it from here. No, that didn't do what I wanted. Let's move. That's a bit finicky, actually. I didn't prepare it with multiple screens. I prepared it with a single screen. Unfortunately, I can't do that because this screen only does 60 Hertz and this screen only does 50. So we have to improvise a bit. Give me a second. Oh. It's already working great. Maybe if I'm overdoing the time, we have to skip the demonstration. But it's more time for you to ask questions or think of questions to ask later. So let's see. I have to go back here on this screen so I can copy my command. If I find my mouse pointer, there it is. All right. So copy this. You probably can't see what I'm doing, but you have to trust me. I've copied the command from my slides, and I will try to get that to full screen. Go to my... Why does the mouse pointer stick at the side of the screen? What's going on? Okay. Go to my PHP container, which is here. It's the wonders of PHP Storm. I love this so much. Go to the terminal over here. Put that in. Hopefully it will work. Yes. You can see it also gives you a small summary of the thing you want to export. So we are trying to export the block, which is Neos demo document block. It shows us where it is. So just to make sure you're actually exporting the right thing, let's do yes. And it did it. If we look in the files, you can see it has created an example.xml. If we open that up, it has, you probably see it somewhere, yeah. It has the block in it and nothing else. So it didn't export the entire site. It imported only the block. And now if we want to make this experience truly magical, let's just remove the block from this page so I can show you that the import also works. So we will delete the entire page structure and publish it, or depublish it, so to speak. Then I will, if I find my mouse pointer, copy the import command and put that once again in here. So now it tells me, okay, same summary. I will put this into home, and it will make a new thing called block. I will say yes. It imported it. And now, hopefully, if I reload that page, then yes, the block is back. Okay. That's it. Thank you very much. As you have seen, the GitHub is linked. You can download it, install it yourself, try it out. And of course, if you have suggestions, pull requests, that would be very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin. Maybe you want to switch to the slides so
yes,
we can
could be good.
see the
Let me just drop
QR code.
over here, or maybe it will just work if I put it back into... yes. Yeah, that was the first slide, but... oh, no, that was one too far.
So great. Thank you. I have no questions in the app, but that doesn't mean somebody else won't ask you if you go off stage about your little package. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you had a very nice time on stage and hope to see you again here.
Hopefully, yes.
So now it's up for Till. He is already prepared. We will have some kind of time in between where we will switch the laptops, Macs, what else? We will see more different systems, I guess, not only Macs this time. And Marc Henry, you can get ready because you will be on stage next. So, what will this talk be about? I can tell you. I have a very small notepad. And here it says, Crud UIs for Neos and Flow with almost no code. But I guess we have some technical problems because I see no slides yet, or no screen. So anybody from our technical team who can help? So in the meantime, anyone of you already did something like Benjamin just presented, thought about how to get a part of the site into, I don't know, from a live site to a staging environment? Any one of you did have this use case already? Ah, yeah, okay, 2, 3. And how did you solve it, or did you say, oh, well, no, it doesn't work? Ah, okay. So you have a package yourself that does. Ah, okay. No, not published. So maybe you can join forces and make the package great, and maybe you can already have a look at the Neos 9 export-import function, because I can tell you that this won't be that easy. So it will probably be very good to have two companies join forces and have a look at the import-export and provide us perhaps for a substitute for that for Neos 9. So. So we have some hectical. Okay. No, I'm not a joke person. Toby, do you want to step in and tell a joke? Oh no, saved by the screen. So everything's running. Okay, Toby, there is a small window for a joke for you. It was just a threat. Are you not a joking person either? Okay. Here we go. We are ready. Then it's your stage.
Yeah, I'm also going to present you a package that I recently published. It's a package for Crud UIs that you can do with almost no coding. So first, we are all on the same page. What does Crud UI mean? Crud is an acronym. It stands for Basic Operations to store entities, for example, in a database, to create, read them, update them, delete them, and user UI is obviously the user interface. So people have something to execute the Crud functions. So why did I build this package? So I had a project with a lot of flow models and entities that are also they have a lot of relations with parent and child relations and in multiple hierarchy levels. I started to code the CRUD interfaces in the Neos backend. individually, but it was like a lot of copy-pasting code and repetitive. That means a lot of maintenance and a pain in the ass if you want to change something, like add properties, so you have to change it in the edit view, in the show view, yeah, so it works. I also used Sandstorm CRUD forms, a great package for exactly this case, but I missed some features there, like the hierarchy thing. I could implement it. I also did it, but it was kind of clumsy. And I also missed Fusion, because Sandstorm CRUD forms is, how is it called? It's old, yes, fluid-based. And I wanted to have something in Fusion. So I started to build this package that generates back-end views like that. This is from a little showcase package that I also published with just some examples how to use the Crud UI package. So we have here like example for album, CD, or anything. Has a title, an artist, which is also linked. So it's another entity. You can have images, date fields, and this is another relation. And there are even the tracks on this album. You can also manage in this view. You can just edit and add new tracks there. And there is also the edit view. Doesn't look as beautiful as the show view, but here you see I have different kind of input fields, like a date picker, a select field for selecting other entities. This is the image field. You have upload, but you can also remove it with this little checkbox. You can have Boolean fields with checkbox and just plain text fields, of course. So how much code do you really need to achieve this? For models and repositories, you can just use the models and repositories you already have at home. So there is no special requirements for that. The package comes with default views that are automatically loaded. So I also did some, implemented a fallback Fusion view, so you don't have to define all the views for each controller, because they're basically all the same and they are just loaded. But of course they can be replaced, they can be customized, or there's even a basic theming mechanism, so you can just change like CSS classes if you want to adapt it. And you need a controller for each model, but this is basically the only code you really need to have the backend views, apart from like module configuration, and this configuration that tells the engine or the package what for property types it needs to use to display or edit the properties of this model. And my goal is to even make this like kind of not needed, because for default only text string properties, you can just leave that empty. So it doesn't need any more information. This property will just be rendered as a text input field and plain output value. But in many other cases, this could also be deducted automatically, like for a relation to another entity. It could be that automatically it selects type select and repository matching that other entity. So these are like, if you just go a little back, for properties, you just indicate what properties do you want to expose in the backend, and this is like you can define a type, and these are the types that are already available in the package. So if you want to display date or date with time, or just like a select or even multi-select, so then you can add and remove entities from this property. You can have image, audio, or like general JSON list that just displays arbitrary data. You can not only use the pre-shipped or the types that are defined in the package, but this is again like the configuration example from before. This is just a fancy property I defined here, and you can define editor and displayer for any property. That is basically just a fusion component, and you just indicate it here, and it will be used in the template. So some more features it has for the index view. You can have a pagination, you can have filters for each column and order by, so you can order it decreasing or increasing. You can customize the backend view or even use it with front-end controllers. There is an example with Tailwind, but you can use any CSS framework you want. You can export the entities as CSV, and there is even not yet documented beta of translation with when you use like Sandstorm getMod translatable connector. That is missing, I guess. You can also translate the entities. And no one was waiting for this, but the naming of the package comes from Millie Koss. She's a pioneer computer programmer, and she built like the first compiler and editing generator, which was sophisticated program to automatically format data for printing. And I thought this was a good name for this package. And it's also a hat tip to women in IT and a little symbolic support.
Thank you, Till. And I have a question for you. Why do you not just use the content repository? Why did you go with entities?
I mean, entities, this is the interface. Or you mean the new content repository?
No, just the content repository. So why don't you just
why I use like models
node and node types? I guess
types.
That's the question.
Because I also wanted to build something I can use with Flow applications without Neos. So I also want to build just applications without the CMS, and I wanted to have something that I can use also with this. I mean, I could have included the content repository without NEOS, but it's just more less dependency like that.
So thank you there, and I think we must speed up a bit. And I don't know if Marc Henry is ready. So I remember you wanted to talk about fusion. That's quite fitting, as we just heard that Sandstorm's package relies on Fluid, and we don't want you to use Fluid anymore. Don't like to use Fluid anymore. So, until Marc Henry, you give me a sign when you are ready. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
You are ready. So the first time on stage for you.
Yes.
So have fun, and we will see you tomorrow on this stage again, right?
Okay. Yes. Yeah. I guess so. So hi. Yes. Hello. I might be the person who thought of this talk just today at 2 o'clock after our social event just today, and let's see how it goes. I haven't actually spoken through yet, but I've written all my 8 points or more than that down today in the early morning. So it's about not being too afraid of the fusion internals, and yes, I will come back to this in the next point, but having to look, of course, into an abstraction of like a domain-specific language with Fusion is, which should actually simplify things, can be seen as a bad idea, because obviously Fusion should encapsulate this. But as always, designing a perfect RPE is not always possible, and there are some quirks in every bit, and sometimes it does help to look beyond what you should see. So, first of all, why should I talk about this? And yes, I'm one of the persons in the past who has rewritten the Fusion parser. I've been told it has been done a few times, but I have my I have my fair share in looking into the sources of everything Fusion related and beyond. So I know what I'm talking about. So back to the implementation, and if you should look beyond it. In my opinion, it will of course confuse people who are completely unaware of Fusion, because first of all they just want to get started, but in the end I hope if every once in a while one considers this, that you will be able to write more efficient code, that one will be able to do more with PHP values when transforming data, and that that is certainly true for the fact that I know of some people who used Fusion in the past who were a little unaware of the fact that the data that is flown through Fusion is not magic. It is PHP. It is a PHP value with PHP getters, and that is how you work on the node. That's how you access the node's name or properties if you don't use flow query. But it's like there's a reason why this works. It's not just the way because you copy it from somewhere, and there's also a reason for the request to have like certain ways to access the get parameters and so on, because it is just implemented somewhere, and we will get to this. I don't actually know how much time I have, but let's see. For real. Okay. So another point is that you might better understand when you're looking beyond what you should see is that at context, this value and Fusion objections in general, and how EL help us work and function. This is all abstracted to a certain point, but I think it's worth looking into it. And of course, every once in a while, when we don't manage to make like the prettiest error ever, like everyone already knows about method Q or method bloop is not callable in untrusted context. That's my favorite message, because it's like so obscured, and it's like on a level that one thinks that this is so secure and stuff. There are tricks to do like really dark things in Fusion. So we don't actually have to obscure this, and it's on my to-do list to unobscure this error, but it means that the flow query or could not match or EEL in general doesn't allow to call this method because you have a null value or something. It's just a pointer error. Yes. We'll see some code soon, hopefully, in less than 4 minutes. There's also a fair share of that you might consider learning a little bit of functional programming to further understand Neos Fusion Map, Reduce, Loop, not all the Fusion prototypes, because they are implemented in a way, or the corresponding EEL help bus array dot. You can see them in the array class or in the documentation generated from it. There are some examples for it, but it's actually the same concept as in how they behave in JavaScript or in any language that has like a functional programming library. Same for array map in PHP. So if you want to transform data, you can do this with Fusion. You just have to be very, very precise and know how you should apply the functional programming. And sometimes even data transformation gets a little too complex, and you will see like a multi-line EEL statement, and at that point it might be worth to consider using an EEL helper, even though it's not so nice, but it's like it encapsulates this array in PHP where you have like proper linting, and you can be safe that you won't screw it up too much. So now I just want to show you a quick example of the Fusion value. This is the Fusion value. It has its class over here. If we control-click into it, we can see that it is an abstract Fusion object. And we have like, it's the simplest possible implementation, because our abstraction is in this case so good that, that we don't have to write any code at all. I can actually inline this right here. And value is just the simplest thing. It's only powerful because you can like use this, and referencing this actually means that this is this object. It is literally the instance of this class. So in theory, you could have like a custom public getter here, blub 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 function get foo, and if you call this punct foo, in this value implementation, it will actually evaluate this getter. For the case of accessing the actual values that are defined here, my favorite value, you will see that the abstract Fusion object implements array access, which will use offset get, which will go back to evaluating the Fusion value. So no magic again here as well for this. And when we look at a more complex example, like the join implementation, we'll see that we have like some meta properties over here, but these are just prefixed normal properties. They can like they don't have any super magic meaning. We can like even rename them and change them in the join implementation, and they will still function. And when we look at this, we use like the glue, add glue, that is the syntax to access glue, with an @ sign, and then we will like have our abstraction to evaluate the nested properties and implode on it with the glue. Exactly. One more thing, we can clearly see that using PHP is for Neos and also for Fusion and everything by choice, because it delivers a good balance between extensibility, and you can read the code. It is made for it, and if it's not that pretty, make an PR, improve a comment, do little things as well. People will come across it. And one last thing, the action request is the request you have in dollar braces request, and here you see all the getters. And the funny things, that request.http request does. So you just have to trace back this chain and see, oh, server request has also cookie params, whatever. It's just not magic. So there is much more to it, and we have like a little bit documentation about Fusion, and there's an 8-year-old talk by Sebastian Kurfisch 7 years ago. I've watched it myself. Yes, we can probably redo this, but you might consider watching it.
Thank you, Marc Henry.
Yes?
As you've heard, I had to rush him a bit. As you've heard, he has clearly much to say about Fusion. So I probably suggest during the social event, just grab him and ask him anything you want about Fusion. He will probably tell you everything he knows. So better bring a drink for you, for the both of you. So as I said earlier, you will be on stage tomorrow, together with Sebastian. So until then, thanks to you. Have a nice day, and we will have the last talk. How are we in time? Is it okay? Okay. How are the slides going? Oh, I have a thumbs up. So I make this quick. The last talk, we'll hear about expand your reach, AI translation as your digital Babelfish from Nicolas.
Yeah, thank you for the kind introduction. As the title says, today I want to talk to you how we use automatic translation in our company to actually take it to the extreme and to power a complete website out of it. But before I take too much away, there's a famous quote from Ludwig Wittgenstein, who says, the limits of my language mean the limits of my world. And the same is true for a lot of our magazines which were published in Germany. And if you look at, and if you talk to the editors, they put lots and lots of effort into the creation of the, into the creation of the content, and really struggle to get good quality content out there. But then the content is limited to the audience simply by the language boundary. And we thought, can we change that with modern technology? And what can we do to increase our audience, get the word out? And then everybody heard about it. What about automatic translation? So we sat together and we came up with the idea, okay, let's just give it a try. We created a new website, allaboutindustries.com, which is basically composed from other articles from partnering websites of our own, which fit an industrial topic, basically. All of the articles on that website are automatically translated. It is moderated and maintained by real human editors, so they take care of the article selection, and that they don't bug us and open too many tickets. We directly integrated it into Neos, which is their daily workflow. So as we sat together, non-techie said, hey, automated translation is easy today. Just go to ChatGPT, type in, translate this, and copy-paste the article, and everything is fine. Yeah, it's not that easy, because how do we handle if the LLM starts hallucinating and, for example, starts replying for rhetoric questions which were in the article? Then yet again in Neos we have structured content. We need to keep that structure, that we can do all our other stuff and that our other logic from the website still work. Then in addition, there are legal obligations, like the content needs to be marked as AI generated at a certain percentage. And of course, ChatGPT costs money too, and we wanted to have at least an eye on the subject, who spends how much, basically. So, and there are lots of more reasons which make it not that easy as one might say. So basically, our system architecture is we have Neos as core CMS, but we also have a couple of other CMSs So if an editor wants to translate an article, he will into the ID into NEOS. NEOS will check if the article is owned by itself or by other CMS. If so, it will fetch the article. And then the translations take time. So we were aware that we need to do this asynchronously. So for that, we built a task management system. We call it Jobverwaltung. It's a flow project. And each of the stages, which are basically done on the way until the transformation process is complete, are deployed in their own package on their own Docker container, so that we were also able to scale these horizontally. So the first step is always the conversion step, where we use the input format, if it's from the other CMS or from NEOS, to have like a common sense of working basis. Then we import files if needed. And then comes basically the OpenAI translation step, where we loop over each structured node type and basically ask, hey, can you translate this? And where the pitfalls are, I will have an extra slide for that. And then after that, we need to do an extra validation step, because it may be that due to the translation, some words sneak into it which were forbidden because they are copyrighted or whatsoever. So we run that against the blacklist. And then in the last step, we submit it back to NEOS again. So still sounds easy, but where were the pitfalls? So the first pitfalls we encountered were directly in the beginning. So we use a node creation handler to basically check where is the article, where do we need to fetch it from. And then we realized, okay, but the node creation handler immediately returns and basically shows an empty page or an error. So basically what we do is we use a polling mechanism against the task manager to check in which state it is, and render a waiting page in Fusion displaying the state. And we also have a little Easter egg in there, which you can see in the demo later. And then if we import the article back, here, as the editor requests the translation in his personal workspace, we need to be able to write it back in his personal workspace. And that's kind of holy. And there's this nice line in the policies YAML from NEO saying no role should have this privilege. We had to break that rule. And now some pitfalls with the OpenAI translation. All the little challenges we ran into NEOS were little compared to OpenAI translation. Basically, what I already said, we needed to solve the problem of structured nodes. At first, we tried to insert it directly into OpenAI, but it constantly destroyed the structure, so it was not useful after translation anymore. So what we do is we loop over each node, and then we had a problem that we lost the context. So for example, if a sub-headline or so picks up some words of the paragraph, we want that it is translated in exact the same manner, because it's basically just a sort of ordering and the style of the editor, and we wanted to keep that. And what we basically do is, with each request for translation, we also ship the prior node and also the following node with it, in addition to a summary of the entire article. And that provides very good results. And that's basically how we solved how do we handle structured node translations. And the next big thing was rhetoric questions and hallucinations. There was a lot of prompt engineering involved in that. And then somebody gave us a hint and said, because what we also saw is that the translation didn't stick to the text. It wandered off, it started adding information, it removed information, but we wanted like an exact translation of the text given. And what we do is after we get the translation of a bit, we pass it in again and together with the original text, and we ask OpenAI to what threshold is that an exact translation or not, and that actually works quite well. If it's below a certain threshold, we simply start the process again, and usually it works then for the second time. Also what we had is we had articles like this is how cyber terrorists hack your PC, and then OpenAI says, no, I won't help you with that, and simply stops and does nothing. So we need to define stop words that we don't constantly retry to get an answer and simply leave that part as is. And there were lots of other mysteries, and I'm certain that if you're interested, we can talk afterwards. Here's a short demo how it works. Yep. So basically, the editor goes into the system, says he wants to create a new article. I just call it a translation. And then he says he wants to import it from one of our CMSs. He inserts the ID, and he says he wants to have it in English. It's a Nachricht. And then we see the loading screen shortly, informing the editor that the import has started, and it directly jumps to the step that the article is being translated. Never mind the error, that's only there that you see that it is a live demo. And yeah, that's basically Easter egg, because it takes like 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, that's not the Easter egg, that's basically the front end to our task manager, where we actually log each and every step during the process. And that makes debugging really, really easy. We see all the inputs and outputs. And now we see the Easter egg, because if you click on the little logo, we can play Flappy Bird. And what you will see now is that I'm a miserable player. And since time is running out, we will skip that. And after a couple of minutes, the article appears and it is translated. Thanks.
So thank you, Niklas, for this demonstration. And sadly, we will have no time for questions.
That's fine.
But you are around, and
Sure.
you can ask Niklas about this implementation afterwards. A few things to note. We will go downstairs to the center stage immediately, because there will be no break before the awards. And so for our live stream viewers, it was a pleasure being here on the studio stage. Head over to the center stage live stream to watch the news awards. And for our 4 speakers of the Lightning Talks today, please come forward again. We have a present for you, and thank you for being here on stage and submitting your talks on such a short notice.
Ich